Welcome to our NICAR CRE broker forum that we hold monthly, generally the last Tuesday of the month, but can be a little bit flexible if we have presenters that can't make it that day or it doesn't make sense it's after a holiday. But nevertheless, I welcome everyone to join us. The focus is for brokers, but all commercial real estate practitioners are welcome. If you have hot topics that you'd like to present on, please do contact me. I'm Theresa Mueller of Trillium Real Estate, and I'm the chair for CRE Broker Forum. I'm also on the executive board for NICAR, which is the Northern Illinois Commercial Association of Realtors. So we're always looking for ways to collaborate across platforms. So willing to hear what you want to talk about. So for this forum, we always have a little bit of content. We have a Q&A. That's the recorded session. And then after we have needs and wants. And everyone is welcome to come. The idea is to help each other. So I do always ask everyone for the needs and wants. Don't advertise your stuff and jump off. Let's be here with everyone, collaborate. And when someone presents something, you say, am I interested? Do I have a client that would be interested? Do I know someone that would be interested? And pay it forward. You may or may not get paid on it, but we're all here to help each other and grow, right? The pie just gets bigger. There's not one pie where we all just get a tiny slice at best. We all can help each other and all make a better future for everyone, right? And that's what Anna Maria was talking about. If you want to see that video, I just posted it on LinkedIn. Anyway, I always encourage feedback, so send information to info@nicar.com and learn more about all of our programs. So also, when we have these recorded sessions, we do ask everyone share their contact information in the chat. So of course, that's not part of the recording, but we do have that at NICAR. So if you wanted to reach out to someone afterwards, we keep that information and we're happy to share it if you're willing to share your contact information. Okay, so with that, I'm sure I didn't cover all the ground rules, but I do always ask that during the recording that everyone, or at least the content portion when we have a presenter, that everyone turns off their screens and off their audio off, just so there are no disruptions. So I want to introduce Anna Maria. She is going to tell you a little bit about her background. I absolutely love her. We've been to many commercial real estate events throughout the Chicagoland area, and she's always showing up, always willing to help people, whether it helps her or not. And I love her mission on sustainability. She can give you a little bit about her background, and then she's going to talk about CPACE. So Anna Marie, it's all you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your invitation and this opportunity today. And everything that you said is absolutely true. We always see each other everywhere, and I always love it when I see you. We have that same energy going, and I can't wait for your hugs.
Thank you.
So. Basically, my name is Anna Maria Kowalik. I've been in the commercial real estate industry for about 30 years now, and the last 8 in sustainability finance. And Theresa was asking me earlier, what drives me, and actually, it's my passion for sustainability. Although this might not be politically correct, but my kids, when when they were growing up, they'd call me the recycling Nazi because I was just, always did you throw that away or did you recycle it? Did you rinse that out before you recycled it,
You
et
say,
cetera, et
what number
cetera.
is that? It goes in this bin?
Exactly. And so not only on a personal scale, but then also when I'd spent the early part of my career in property and asset management. And I found that in sustainability finance, that has also served to help my clients because I understand their projects intrinsically. And so I get it. And what brought me into that area basically is that uh, when I was doing property management for a shopping center REIT, I was trying to be creative and find all kinds of new ways of becoming more green. I started the first green committee together with my, then lead, and we tried to grow it, but until I actually researched um, uh, ways of creating water conservation measures for our shopping centers, and then brought it before our maintenance and executive committees. We did our first project on only 16 exterior landscape irrigation systems, and ended up we had rain sensors so that whenever it would rain, they'd automatically shut off. And it saved uh, thousands of dollars and millions of gallons of water. And so when I saw the impact that, any one person and any good idea could have, that just excited me. And when I left property management, I had this opportunity to get in with CPACE financing, and that's what brings us all here today. And before we start, I really just wanted to explain to you that what we're here for today is the option for you to understand so that you can help your clients realize what their options are in financing and how CPACE as a financing tool is one of the greatest options out there for them. So let me bring up my slides, and I'm going to share my screen in a moment here. Can everyone see all right?
Yep, I see it.
Coming up. Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks so much. All righty. Well, my new consulting company, brand that I just started back in September, I launched on LinkedIn, is called Curly Consultancy. And of course, you can't guess where that all came from. But anyway, it's just a way that I wanted to. I know a lot of people don't remember my long Italian first name, Anna Maria, but they never forget the curls. And I get run up from behind so many times saying, "I knew it was you. Hi," and then I could tell they forget my name, but that's okay. So on to the next slide. Let's see here. Okay, so CPACE is the acronym for Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy Financing Tool. It's an option for commercial property owners to fund any energy efficiency projects, just improvements, making existing buildings, doing retrofit projects and making them more energy efficient. Any of the renewable energies that they might be installing, like solar or geothermal. Um, Resiliency measures, which include all of the water conservation, reuse, purification, especially in manufacturing systems. Any of these are called eligible measures for qualifying properties. And what we mean by qualifying properties is that any property which wishes to engage this financing tool cannot have been in bankruptcy within the last 3 years unless it was purchased out of bankruptcy. Then the new owner could look into this as a financing option. And to have no environmental hazards on the property, as well as being current on mortgage loans and on taxes for the property. And so the whole tenet of CPACE began nationally as an idea between the Department of Energy and some other folks across the country on university levels coming together and trying to find a way to advance sustainability measures and help all of that aging building stock in the US come up to the standards of the rest of the world. And so that's how CPACE was born about 16 years ago now. The first financings actually occurred in late 2011 and 2012. So this is a nationwide program. But what it is not federal or state funds, but rather fixed rate long term private equity investments into private projects. And so that's a great option, especially for the smaller to mid-sized commercial property owner in doing their retrofit projects, getting these funds that otherwise they'd have to go out and raise or, you know, or take advantage of just other conventional lending products. And really, when you get into mezzanine and bridge lending or additional construction loans, those are always a higher interest rate than PACE. PACE is a little higher than conventional lending, but it's certainly degrees lower than the temporary lending products or the construction lending, which is in the double digits. So when we say it offers up to 100% fixed rate long-term financing, what does that mean? 100% is based on what the project value that is being done, just of those eligible measures. So say you're doing a project that includes a lot of tenant rehab. You're going to be putting a new tenant in to a building, and you're going to have to be doing all of this work for them. But not all of those things may qualify for CPACE. If it's energy efficient, if you're doing new HVAC, new windows and doors, building envelope type measures that help keep the property more energy efficient, more air and water tight. If you're doing automated systems so that as people move from room to room, lights turn on and off, and perhaps even the climate controls within a certain degree. And so those measures can be covered up to 100%, but they are subject to the state by state nuances in legislation. So, which brings me to the next part. So, CPACE loans, they are loans like any other loans. These are not grants or other types of incentive products. It is a loan like any other, and it is repaid via the special assessment mechanism on the property tax bill. So when you get your semi-annual tax bills, you will see all your various line items for sewer, water districts. You've got school districts, park districts, etc. Then you'll have a line item for CPACE financing. It is a per pin, the pin being improved type of a financing tool. And because it is related to the tax bill, it has to be legislated and enabled by legislation state by state, because every state's tax laws are a little bit nuanced. So, for example, to date, 40 states in the US have enabled CPACE by legislation. and about 36 of those have active lending programs. So you need a program administration once you have enabled the financing tool by legislation, because you need guidelines and policies and procedures that work within the framework of these state statutes. And so it's because of all of this that I call CPACE the simplest, most complicated product out there. It's very simple in what it means to do. It's supposed to be a quicker, more efficient way of financing, using private capital instead of other types of funds. And it's supposed to just go directly to those energy efficient measures. However, on the back end, it gets very complicated in working with the nuances of the legislation and the eventual adoption, whether it be county by county or municipality by municipality. And that's where you require the expertise of people who are familiar not only with the product but with the programs nationwide. Now, what types of commercial properties would qualify for CPACE financing? Well, anything that is income producing, that's considered commercial. So you've got your retail, industrial, and manufacturing, hospitality, office, and then multifamily type structures. Even affordable housing could be included. But anything that is of that residential sort must be greater than 4 units, as you know it is in widely accepted in the real estate industry. So 5 units and greater can qualify as commercial property, and therefore those would be qualifying buildings. And then we have other special use types of properties, such as entertainment facilities, bowling alleys, you name it, and anything that's a little bit different and, special use, we look at on a case by case basis. Eligible improvements include everything under the sun that would be considered, and literally with the sun and solar. But so you've got solar and, like I said, geothermal with water pumps and heat pumps. Lighting, LED, of course, is a low hanging fruit. You've got insulation, and roofing. If it's a white reflective roof, greater energy efficiencies, and your insulation, for example, would have to be at least greater than code. And the greater it is in R factor, the more energy efficiencies you can garner from it. HVAC we had discussed, and actually I love the legislation here in Illinois that was passed in 2017 because it's very open-ended. We didn't restrict it with any qualifications that are onerous or difficult to meet. We tried to make things more open-ended for new technologies that might come into being that don't exist today. And rather than having to go back and amend the legislation all the time, this makes for a more a growth product, let's call it. And so one thing I'd like to mention in particular is electrical vehicle infrastructure for charging vehicles. So the charging infrastructure. Many states will not include this under the CPACE qualifications because it actually encourages the use of electricity and a greater consumption and expenditure, therefore. Here in Illinois, we consider it a cleaner energy, and therefore vehicle charging infrastructure would be covered under CPACE financing. So that's of particular note. But here's a quick map that shows most of the states that are doing CPACE at this time. And in fact, Alabama, that's here as more of a program in development or PACE enabled. They just enabled CPACE by legislation, but they do not have a program yet ready for funding. However, you can see it's fairly extensive. There are only 10 states that have not yet passed the legislation, but we're hopeful, before we hit the 20th anniversary mark of CPACE in the U.S. But you can see that since inception, since the first deals were transacted and funded, we have now financed almost 10 billion in CPACE dollars, which reflect about 3,500, 3,600 projects completed, and over 125 jobs created since then. So, and there have been a couple of big projects that have been announced in 2026. So these numbers have certainly grown. The process is very simple. You have a commercial property owner who wants to do a project. And so you get an investor involved, and those are CPACE capital providers. There are about a dozen or so who founded the industry and actually still provide capital across the U.S. But there are more and more state by state other types of investors getting involved in CPACE, including community and regional banks for smaller lending, which would be these days considered under the $3 million mark. So anything from about 150,000 to $3 million would be considered the small loan market. The money then flows from the capital provider who decides that they like this project, they want to invest in it, and then they provide the capital, which then gets placed on the next tax roll by the tax collector, and once the monies go directly to the real estate, then when the next tax bill gets issued, then that's when the payments begin. So it typically takes anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half before the actual debt hits the tax roll. But then it's just paid automatically with the taxes. Now you say, oh, that's a big chunk of money, perhaps, because it is amortized on that, based on that semi-annual tax payment. But mortgage lenders have to be a partner in the process, and they may require, just as they do escrowing taxes, escrowing the CPACE financing as well. And so that makes it a little bit easier on the borrower. However,
Pianos, segunda circular en Lisboa.
oh, I'm sorry, someone had broken through their mute. I thought they were asking a question. But what happens is then, if you don't have a mortgage, then you can decide, based on the property's performance, whether or not you wish to accrue monthly or semi-annually to be able to pay the tax bill when due. So why does CPACE exist to begin with? And there are just so many barriers to energy efficiency upgrades. And the primary one is money. Uh, Need capital. I have no money. Where do I get it? Where can I find it? Because it is difficult finding sources. Perhaps your mortgage lender doesn't want to loan any more on that property, or they have their own limits. For debt disbursement. So, you're looking for other means, and here you need look no further because this is, funds that are always available. It's just a question of locating them and proving up the project on the energy efficiency scale. One of the interesting items about CPACE is that it is non-accelerating. And so loans secured by mortgages are due upon the sale of property. That means that they automatically come due upon the event. And that could be a positive event of sale or a negative event, bankruptcy or foreclosure of the property. In any case, the full amount comes due. CPACE is like a mortgage in that it's a fixed rate long-term loan, but it stays with the property on the tax bill. And therefore, until it's satisfied, it never accelerates. It only that which is due currently on that amortization schedule on the current tax bill or any past due amounts on the tax bill. That's all that would ever come before the mortgage. And so that's where we partner with the mortgage lenders, as I had mentioned earlier, because being on the tax bill, it's a priority lien, but it's never a full priority. It's only based on the current amounts due. So why would a property owner, commercial property owner, decide to do CPACE? There's no upfront capital needed for their projects. They get up to that 100% financing. So for example, here in the state of Illinois, there are 4 basic tenets to the legislation. The first is that the CPACE loan amount cannot exceed 25% of the full value of the property. And when we say value of the property, it's to be verified via appraisal, and the as stabilized value, which is the highest value for the property, can be used in making this calculation. So the only reason we wouldn't give the 100% financing for the project for all of those qualifying measures would be that it might exceed the 25% of the value of the property. Simple terms, you have $1 million property, you can get up to $250,000 in CPACE dollars. If you have a mortgage of less than $750,000, then it all works out. If your mortgage is greater than that, then we might not deny the CPACE financing, but it might have to be reduced to 200 or less, depending on what the value of the final mortgage and total valuation comes out to be. But CPACE financing will allow energy efficiency technology that you might not have been able to do otherwise. It's never a budget priority. Don't have the funds, don't want to raid the reserves. However, doing this project with these available dollars at hand can improve the NOI of the property because it hits on the tax bill below the line. And above the line, there are additional counterbalance in savings from utility expenses, as well as, and those are the energy savings that we have to verify throughout. And also be able to have less R&M expense initially through, at least half of the life term of the installation. So it really does help and can have an accretive effect on property values. So I told you about four parts of the legislation. So up to 25% maximum of the total value of the property. Then up to 30-year fully amortizing term. Now, this is where legislation varies from state to state on these two items, because some can go up to 30% loan to value. And I know, for example, Tennessee, I believe, goes up to 40% for elevator improvements. But then the terms can also go up. I know there are one or two states that go up to 40 years, but Illinois keeps it at the 30-year mark. And if a property owner does not want a lengthy loan for that entire term, then they can request amortization schedules to see what the payments would look like for a 20 or 25-year term, or even 15, depending on, what they're looking for and what their future plans for the property are. And then the other two items that actually every state's legislation shows is there's an energy audit required by law to verify the savings and the qualifying measures for this financing. And then also the written mortgage lender consent. It's very important to get the mortgage lender on board when there is an outstanding mortgage on the property because of the intrinsic special assessment lien that comes with CPACE financing. And we want to make sure that all parties are playing well in the sandbox together. We talked about the 30-year fully amortizing rate. And then the wonderful thing, one of the biggest benefits is that CPACE runs with the land, because just like the tax bill, continues to be present on with the property. And so too is the CPACE financing tool. When you talk about terms, up to 30 years is, like we said, what's allowable in Illinois. However, the assessment term has to match the useful life of the improvement. So say you're doing an HVAC improvement. HVACs go from 18 to 22 years now. Solar panels typically have a length of life from 20 to 25 years. Roofs and windows and doors can go up to 30 years or more. And so dependent on what those measures are will determine the actual offer of financing term to the commercial property owner. Here in Illinois, we are able to take the term, and if you have multiple measures going on, we can roll everything up into the longest term so that that's the easiest financing. However, there is we can, as far as the term goes, some states will only allow a median or average of those eligible measures. So again, more restrictions in other legislation and less here in the state of Illinois. But do know that because it's part of the tax bill, tenants can share on the costs and the savings, and so it can be uh, uh, paid back via CAM. So
Anna
uh,
Marie, can we
yes,
do you want to kind of wrap it up in the next minute
yes.
and then let people ask questions?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So basically, contractors love CPACE because it's a value add client service, easier approvals on projects, and they can help meet schedules for industry mandated and code required upgrades. And then it also enables that coordination of building systems that people might not otherwise do. Municipalities love it because there are no costs to them for processing CPACE transactions. It's available to all constituents if they have qualifying properties and qualifying measures being installed. It's a great economic development and a business retention tool, creates jobs in the approved area, can increase the property value due to the modernization of these projects. And it helps meet municipal sustainability goals. So it's that green feather in the cap that everybody loves to have. And of course, here in the Northeast Illinois community, we've got the Greenest Compact issued by the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, which enables each city to be able to take on a sustainability plan and to follow that. So, and then, of course, all of these projects just make for a better environment, both internal to the building for the tenants, external to the community and surrounding. So, and then from the lender perspective, what we need to know primarily is that CPACE is a non-accelerating product. And so although the mortgage does subordinate to the CPACE loan on the tax bill, it's never ever a full subordination. It's only partial based on what's due and owing on the CPACE. And that is the end of my presentation here. And here is the slide with all of my contact information. I have the unique being of having both the capital provision for profit experience and the nonprofit program administration experience here in Illinois. And so I'm in that unique position where few people across the US, perhaps a handful of us, have that much experience. So I'm happy to help with any and all questions, both now and in the future. Feel free to contact me.
Thank
So I
you.
see that Ahmed has raised his hand. Did you want to take that over, Teresa?
Yeah, so I'll go through the questions. If anyone would like to ask any questions, we'll just take a couple questions due to time, but please do raise your hand. The first question that I have is, I'm automatically thinking like, okay, who can this be beneficial? And the first one that came to mind for me is I have clients that are buying value add multifamily in the Chicagoland area. So these are very old buildings, they don't have up to date anything, right? And so if they're going to be renovating these buildings anyway, it seems to me that it makes sense for them to potentially borrow this money because it stays with the building. It doesn't,
Yes.
they don't necessarily have to, carry that forever and worry about that as a burden for them. And it is another value add if they're going to be replacing the windows, putting on a more sustainable roof slash solar panels or et cetera. So
Just HVAC,
I
right?
mean, it sounds like that would be the perfect type of project that they
Absolutely.
would sponsor. And because you said stabilized value, because if they're buying it at a discount, but they said, you know what, here's what pro forma shows, and the valuation says, yeah, we agree with this, then that's, it's more likely to be funded, right?
That is correct. Yes, because just like any other loan, one needs to qualify, and there's a certain amount of underwriting that goes into it, and all of those financials, et cetera, will be required, and therefore, yes, a scenario like that could be optimal.
Awesome. Thank you, Maria.
Yes,
Ahmed, go ahead with your question.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Anna Mary.
you're
So,
welcome.
a couple of things came to mind.
Yes.
So this is a tax assessment
Yes.
and it has a senior lien position. So why would an existing mortgage holder give consent to be second fiddle?
Okay.
What has your experience been, number one? I mean, it just for me, it seems it may be a tough sell. Go ahead, answer that. And I had one more question for you. Go ahead.
Sure. Absolutely. It was not a tough sell, primarily for us when I was on the capital provision side, because our company had probably a 98% onboarding rate with mortgage lenders. I think once they understand a couple of things, number one, that acceleration factor. So the C pace never accelerates. So let's say, you have a C pace semi-annual tax bill of $15 or $20,000. Let's say $20,000 every semi-annual payment. So 40,000 for the year. Only that current installment that shows the $20,000, that's all that's going to come before the mortgage, essentially, unless there are any past due taxes due. So let's say it's a property in bankruptcy or foreclosure. So maybe they have 40,000 from last year plus 20,000 from this first installment. So in that case, only 60,000 of the full C-PACE financing of maybe, 250,000 or $300,000 would come before the mortgage in the event of sale or foreclosure or anything. So that's the only, real subordination that they have is to that current amount due. Another thing is that they don't have to take on any additional balance sheet liability for putting out additional funds. They might be, all banks have a certain amount, that they apply annually to, what they can turn over in lending, and so basically, CPACE takes that burden off of them, and once they understand the non-acceleration, they're happy to pair together, just as they would with another construction loan or, one of the other temporary lending products that I spoke of earlier.
Thank you, Anna Marie. And a
Yes,
quick comment, you can comment, you don't have
yes,
to, so the other thing is triple net leases,
yes.
unless it has a provision for special assessment, you're going to be stuck. The owner is stuck
So
with
I would
special.
say the opposite. I would say the
Right,
opposite. It, as long as there is nothing that in the lease that excludes special assessments
right.
from being paid, then it's definitely something that can trickle down through the CAM.
Okay.
So there, I know that especially so when I was in the shopping center industry, primarily grocers, the nationwide grocers especially, always have, the clause that they do not pay special assessments on tax bills, regardless of what they are. So in those cases, then it would just be split with the rest of the shopping center, for example, excluding the that main lease, that primary grocer lease.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much. I'm going to wrap this up in a few minutes. Anna Maria did leave her contact information. And if you could also put that in your chat, just to be sure, Anna
I
Maria, because we
did.
will save the chat at the end. So I appreciate everyone coming on because we always have really good content here, as well as a very good deal making and high priority session afterwards. So we are here through NICAR, Northern Illinois Commercial Association Realtors, every month. In addition to many of our other great programs, CGBN, broker breakfasts, etc. And on the executive team, I appreciate if you reach out to us if you are looking for other programming or would like to volunteer and make things happen. We're always open to suggestions. This is, as you know, it's recorded. We have it on the NICAR CRE broker forum page as well as our YouTube session. So open to different topics in the future. Next month, we will have Simon, who is one of our members and our CCIM affiliate. He's going to talk about data centers. So I did put that in our chat if you would like to join us next month. And then I understand that we're going to have a new needs and wants system in place. So I'm looking forward to that because this is something many of us have been asking for a long time. And hopefully that is going to be implemented over the summer months. So I appreciate everyone coming on. Do stay on after we end the recording and reach out to me with any questions, suggestions, whatever. Theresa Mueller. You can either go through info@nicar.com or reach me at info@theresamueller.com, 630-715-9999. Thank you everyone for attending, and please promote Anna Maria and her amazing product. This is great for all of us.